The Central Tibetan Administration is a democratic institution established in Dharamsala in the North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh after the Tibetans were forced out of their homes in Tibet in the year 1959 due to the violent occupying forces of the People's Republic of China. Dharamsala, and otherwise a sleepy hill town, gained global prominence and visibility after His Holiness the Dalai Lama made the place his exile seat for the last more than 6 decades. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is not only a firm believer in the ideas of democracy, he also advocates values of democracy around the world. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has begun preparing for a democratic system of governance in early years of exile. Less than a year after he left Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama made his first public announcement of his plans to democratize the Tibetan government. From the year 1960, the Tibetan polity began taking gradual steps in treading the path of democracy through election of their first elected body, the Commission of Tibetan People's Deputies, finalization of Tibet's charter, expansion of number of parliamentary members, including the women representatives. In the year 2001, the exiled Tibetans from the 55 settlements in India, Nepal and Bhutan, and those who have immigrated to other countries in the West, voted on their choice of candidates. That year, Tibetans saw their first elected chief cabinet minister. The system of electing the political leader after every 5 years made the political system of administration in exile stable and more reliable. In the year 2011, His Holiness the Dalai Lama encouraged Tibetans to elect their leader by popular mandate and voluntarily relinquished his political authority to a democratically elected leader, manifesting his true support to the ideals of democracy.
ringni ningdo na ben debe tan se laban si ji ya die ringni ningdo na debe ji ta tering mo su zhe ngamo nga zu pebe ji so ningbe ro dan go wa ne pebe si yong gan xin ge da da ru shi gun du ne ne zu ji xu xie ba de ta de de mang zo se ya de nga zu ma na la da ka shi ni mi po be nga ne la lin ge ni me ma ge yu du xie be en si yong The
exiled Tibetan administrative body has now turned into a fully functioning democratic setup. The Central Tibetan Administration, the apex body of the Tibetan people, composed of a judiciary, a legislative, and an executive body. The judiciary is the apex body in the Tibetan democracy, headed by a Chief Justice Commissioner and 2 Justice Commissioners appointed by the Tibetan Parliament in exile. The legislative body comprises of 45 directly elected representatives representing the Tibetans in diaspora from the 3 traditional provinces of Tibet, members of clergy, and Tibetans outside of India, Nepal, and Bhutan. The legislative body, or the members of Tibetan parliament in exile, formulate policies and ensure the system of checks and balances are induced. They are elected for a period of 5 years. The executive body is headed by Sikong, or the political leader, who is assisted by not more than 7 Kaluns or cabinet ministers, each heading the 7 departments of the Central Tibetan administration. The executive body takes care of Tibetans in terms of health, livelihood support, education, cultural and language preservation, and awareness campaign for the resolution of Sino-Tibetan conflict. Today, the Tibetan diaspora is scattered over 15 different countries, with the largest being concentrated in India. Despite the huge geographical spread of its population for the last 6 decades, the Central Tibetan administration has today come out to be a thriving and vibrant democratic setup, electing their representatives in the parliament and the political leader by popular mandate like any other democratic setup. The Tibetan diaspora supports the Central Tibetan administration by making an annual voluntary financial contribution. The Central Tibetan administration also receives support from various governments, organizations, and individuals.